Hey there, this is Travis Robbins, author of Hidden Millions Machine, and I want to try to sell you on the idea of reading this book. There's no shortage of books out there. Um, Books get written every single day, and very few of them are read widely. The audience I have for this book is pretty narrow. It's private practice physical therapists, but I wanted to make this book a little bit different than a typical book that you would pick up even in our small field of private practice physical therapy. So in the beginning, pretty standard, but I think the easiest way to kind of get you guys introduced to what this book can do and why I want you to read it so that it helps out your practice is to go down to this section where I kind of have a cheat sheet for everything that's in this book. So again, a standard book with paragraphs and different things that most books have is probably not going to be super appealing. I wanted to make this a little bit more interactive. So when you see spiral bound notebooks, this is going to typically be in the beginning or ends of sections of the book. It's going to be a self assessment. So I really love these, and I've seen these in other places where you take this quiz before you read the section, and it gives you an idea of where you sit right now. And based on the self-assessments that we've done in the past, we wrote the book geared towards the holes in the skills of private practice owners, just like I had these holes before I learned how to do it, to try to help them out. So you're going to take a self-assessment, get a score, and then that is going to inform the information that comes after that. When you see gavels, these are objections that come up. So I have been doing this for over 8 years now. It's kind of hard to believe. Going into practices remotely or on site and helping initiate these programs with physical therapists that are new to this information. And of course, we're getting a lot of objections. Well, you can't really give me an objection I haven't heard because I've been doing this for a really long time. So I went through those. These are the objections that maybe you have. Those are objections that maybe your staff is going to have when you bring it back to them. So those things are really helpful. Clipboards. So you'll find these. This is like a set of action items, like a literal checkoff list of things you have to do to implement what I'm teaching you in the chapters. If you do these checkoff lists, this will be a successful program for you, and it will uncover millions of dollars in your practice that you didn't know was there. QR codes, these are pretty straightforward. These are going to be resources that push you to PDFs, landing pages for pieces of information, lots of videos that are helpful in terms of learning this stuff. I try to make this book as short as possible. I really designed it to be read on a flight. So a 2-hour flight is typically the average flight that I'm on. So I want to be able to read this in 2 hours, and you definitely can do that. But for taking a deeper dive into some of this stuff, some of the trainings that we've put together in the past are allowed to be accessed by you because you have this book. Case studies are always important. We're physical therapists at heart, right? So we learn through case studies. These are case studies that we have used with other practices that we have worked with and proving that this stuff is important and it can change the face of your career. Quotes, I always love quotes. That helps you kind of focus in on the content that's coming. Key chapter takeaways. So the less actionable stuff just kind of summarizes chapters mostly in part 1. That will help you kind of summarize this. Again, you probably should read this all the way through once, and then you can use it as a reference book. So when you're kind of remembering what chapters were like, you can just kind of go to the back and say, oh yeah, this is what this chapter was about. Hidden Millions All-Star Highlights. So these are interviews that I've done with practices that I've worked with a ton and have implemented this stuff and had success. I can get up here and say all this great stuff, but it's more impactful and powerful if someone else that I taught it to comes back and says, yeah, we use this and it actually worked. Help is here. So this is just extra help in a bunch of different forms. If you're struggling with something, you can use the help is here button to kind of help fast forward your learnings. And then live event recordings. So these are really valuable. These are live events that we do. We've done a ton of them at this point in Florida, Scottsdale, Seattle, recordings from live events that we have done where we take a little bit deeper dive into the content that's in the book. That again, I try not to make it such a huge book. You can probably watch some videos or even just listen to the videos and kind of consume the content that's there and help you implement this system into your practice. I promise you that if you read through this book and actually do the checkoffs and watch the videos and do everything that is in the book, you will significantly improve your practice and therefore your life and the lives of your family and all of the people that you touch in your organization. We put a lot of time and effort into this. If one practice owner reads this book and actually does it and emails me back and contacts my cell phones in this book, there's no shortage of ways to contact me, then all the work that we put in here was worth it. So thanks for taking a chance at reading a book. It's your valuable time that you're investing in doing this. I try to make it as impactful and short and actionable as possible. I hope you feel the same way.